So in the past few days, I've heard a couple of people bashing on free work, saying that you should never work for free, you should charge what you're worth. And I just do not believe that. And I'm going to show you what the ROI of free work has looked like. And these are real examples in my business. So this first one, ideal client number one. I get an introduction to an ideal client, and instead of just responding to it right away, I spent 2 hours and I wrote emails. I wrote 3 sample emails for this client and this prospect, and I sent them an email. And then I responded on the DM, and I was like, "Hey, this is what I could do for you. Would love to work with you." Just dropped you an email that has 3 sample emails attached. The person comes back, they're like, well, I'm actually looking for somebody that's full-time. Since you're an agency owner, like, are you interested in being full-time? I'm like, no, not really. So he's like, okay, don't worry about it. And it kind of ended there. But 3 days later, I get a notification that this person booked a call with me. And I hopped on the call, and the prospect told me basically, "Hey, I read those emails. They were really good. Like, you sounded just like me. And you dropped the link to your Calendly right there. And so I just booked a call." So we hop on this call, and I am just trying to figure out what is the need for this client. And during the call, like, the client listed several different types of needs, but I re-listened to it afterwards, and the client had mentioned several urgent projects that needed to be done. And so I went and just decided, you know what, I'm going to do one of these for free. So let me add my time up in here. So I spent 2 hours on a Sunday morning writing 3 sample emails. Okay. Next, I did 1 hour. It was about a 1 hour call with the prospect. Next, I did another hour listening back to the call and figuring out the problems. And then the next thing I did was I gave the prospect a no-brainer offer. I said, "Hey, let me try. I know you've got these 50 projects that you need done. Let me try doing one of these. I'll do it for free, and just to see if I'm able to meet your quality standards." So, no-brainer offer. Prospect's like, okay. So I then go ahead and I spend 20 hours doing this free project. This is on top of running my business, mind you. So busy. It was busy. I actually stayed up one night from like 9 p.m. to like 5 a.m. finishing the project. So 20 hours doing this free project, big commitment. And that breaks down to I did an hour-long interview with this prospect, and then a bunch of research, and then the actual writing, and then editing, just a whole project. So I do that, and guess what I don't do? I don't go and tell the prospect, "Hey, you need to pay me for this in retrospect," or anything like that. What I do is, so the prospect, how he reacts to this is he says, "Hey, this is amazing. Like, you did such a good job on me giving you so little context," and just super happy with it. And basically said, "Where do we go from here?" I was like, "Let's do it again. I'll do another free project for you." And the client didn't respond for a week or two, and then finally responded and said, "Yeah, I'd love to, but I feel weird about not paying you or compensating you." And that was the holdup. And so I put together a proposal, and I said, "Okay, well, how about I do, of these projects that we're doing, I set a certain scope of projects that we could do, put a proposal together, so I'll do it for $100K. And the client's like, "Okay, great." And so landed $100K. So you can see that just this time that I spent, this 24 hours, it doesn't include what I will spend like completing this project, but this is the marketing cost. So 24 hours of time. Let's just say that my time, so let's see, 24 hours, and then $100,000. So let's just do a like marketing per time. So 100,000 divided by 24. I mean, that's like me landing $4,166. $4,166 for every hour I spent doing this free work. So I'd say that's a pretty solid return. If I can spend an hour doing marketing and land $4,166, that's really good. Okay, next. So I have a friend who says, hey, I'm going to introduce you to these clients. I work with them on email. They're some of my favorite clients. They respect me. They always pay on time. They've got a great business. Like, they're really starting to accelerate, but their LinkedIn sucks. Like, their LinkedIn content, they're just not maximizing it. And there's actually two people. I'm just calling it one person, but it's two people. And he's like, you should do some free work for them, he suggested, and just prove that you can do a good job. And I'm sure they'd love to work with you. So what I do is I hop on a call with them and I go through my entire sales pitch and I try to increase the perceived value of my service, meaning I want them to not be surprised when I say that I charge $5,000 per month. And at the end of the call, instead of saying that, so they asked me finally, they're like, okay, well, what's the damage? What's this going to cost us? I said, you know what? Why don't I just create a week of free content for both of you? And you can see if I'm able to do a good job with it and you feel good about it. And then if it looks good at that point, then let's have a conversation about working together. No-brainer offer. Both prospects are like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. And so then in this case, I actually, because this is more aligned in the first example, the first client, that was outside of my core offer. I was just a client I really wanted to work with, and so I was willing to make an exception. But this was very aligned with my core offer, and I have a team. I'm not solo. So what I did is I sent this to one of my writers, and I said, hey, can you please write for these two clients? Here's the context. It's due by Thursday, and I spent approximately maybe 1 hour total between the sales call and then reviewing the content, send it back to the client. So in my time, this turned into 1 hour, and the average client to me is worth something in the range of $20,000. And so let's say that I don't land both of them, but I land one of them, then awesome. That's a great return, you could imagine. Maybe I don't land either of them, and if so, who cares? I spent an hour of time. Oh, and I also spent, so I'll just say average client right here so you can know what I'm talking about. 1 hour of my time. And then I paid this writer, say, I'm not exactly sure, maybe $250 for the writer's time. Maybe a little bit more. Let's just be generous and say $500. Cool. Sorry, I'm a stickler. Got to have my apostrophes in here. Okay. So basically 1 hour of time plus $500 and potential of landing $40,000 or $20,000 or zero. So it's a good bet. It's a bet I'd be willing to make any day. Okay, so ROI of free work right there could be very high. We'll see what happens. This was very recent. Okay, ideal client number 3. All right, so ideal client number 3 was someone who actually a pretty big account on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, has a lot of followers, reached out to me and was like, hey, I have someone I really want to work with, and they want me to ghostwrite for them. I don't want to ghostwrite for them, but I want a relationship with them, and I'd love to consult with them. And so would you be willing to do the ghostwriting for me, and I'll just do the consulting? And so it'd be like a white label partnership. I don't have to interface with the client at all. And I said, yeah, I'm open to that. Here's what I would charge, and let me know who it is. And what I'll do is I'll just create a free week of content, and you can see if he likes it, if this client likes it at all. So of course, my friend who wanted to do this white label partnership, he's like, okay, that's a no-brainer. So you can see I always make the free work is a no-brainer offer. It really is. And so that happens. I send it to my writer. So again, I spend on this one, I didn't even hop on a call. So I probably spent my time, maybe 30 minutes. My writer's time, probably say 4 hours. And then what is this client going to be worth to me? So my guess, client value. This is If the client closes, which guess what? They closed. My guess is it'll be $20,000. It might be less, it might be more. But say this is again $500. Would I pay $500 plus 30 minutes of my time to land a $20,000 client? Every day of the week. Every day of the week I would. And that's, say that my rider does a bad job and it's like, hey, this isn't good enough. I can send it back to the rider, or I can just invest another 60 minutes of my time and go to 90 minutes. Would I spend 90 minutes and $500 to land a $20,000 client? Absolutely. Would I do it for a $10,000 client? Yes. Would I do it for a $5,000? If the client pays me $5,000 total, I'd probably still do it. So sometimes these don't work out. I've got several examples of when I do free work and it doesn't pay off. But for the most part, like, it pays off in either goodwill, where they're like, wow, thanks so much for spending the time and doing this, or they just become clients. So you can see that the ROI on free work can be pretty nasty. So just wanted to throw that out there because I've seen people saying the opposite, and I just wanted to prove it wrong. So there you go.